Welcome to the Price Academy, bite-sized history videos. This video is introducing Mary Seacole. In 2004, Mary Seacole was voted the greatest Black Briton of all time when the BBC asked people to vote for their favourite black person. But who is Mary Seacole? Mary Seacole was a black nurse born in Kingston, Jamaica on the 23rd of November in 1805. Mary's father was a Scottish lieutenant in the British Army called James Grant, and her mother was a free black Jamaican who owned a large and comfortable boarding house called Blundell Hall in the capital city, looking after officers and their families when they were ill, as you can see in this image. When Mary was little, she watched her mother carefully at work at Blundell Hall, picking up herbal medicine. She even practiced on her dolls and pets before helping her mother treat humans. In 1853, Mary was 50 years old. She was asked by the medical authorities in Jamaica to train nurses to treat soldiers suffering from yellow fever. She used the herbal remedies of soothing lemon and ginger. By the end of that year, Mary went to London for the third time and heard about the Crimean War and the terrible conditions there. British and French soldiers had been sent to the Crimea to help the Turkish defeat the Russians, and the nurses were being sent out to help the wounded and sick soldiers at army hospitals and battlefields. Mary wanted to be able to use her nursing skills to help the sick and wounded soldiers in the Crimea. However, there was some hostility towards Mary due to the colour of her skin, and even Florence Nightingale's assistant turned her offer of help down. However, Mary was determined that she would go to the Crimea and used her own money to fund her voyage. Unlike Florence Nightingale, who nursed at Scutari Hospital in Turkey, Mary helped the wounded soldiers on the battlefield at Balaclava near the Black Sea. When Mary arrived at the Crimea, she was seen on the landing stages at Balaclava supplying hot tea to the casualties whilst they were waiting to be lifted into the boats. As well as the tea, Mary became known for her rice puddings, sponge cakes and homemade lemonade. She entered into business with Mr. Day, a relative in the shipping business, and started to trade in all manners of foodstuffs. Mary became known as mother or auntie to many of the soldiers, and she even set up the British Hotel, which provided a comfortable place for sick and convalescent soldiers. It is said by 7 o'clock in the morning, officers would queue at the hotel for a cup of coffee. After the war, Mary returned to England, but she was bankrupt. In 1857, soldiers that she had helped in the Crimean decided to raise money for her for a 4-day fundraising gala. This took place on the banks of the River Thames. Crowds of 80,000 attended, including members of the royal family. Mary also wrote an autobiography in 1857 called Wonderful Adventures of Mrs. Seacole in Many Lands, and it is one of the earliest autobiographies of a mixed-race woman. 1881, at the age of 76, Mary died. Her obituary in the Times said, "The deceased will be remembered, greatly distinguished herself as a nurse on the battlefield and in hospitals during the Crimean War." In 2016, a memorial to Mary was created in the form of a statue in the garden of St Thomas's Hospital in London. It was the first public statue of a named black woman in the UK. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this video, to like and subscribe to the channel, or you can follow me at Twitter or at Facebook at TanyaAlex38.